You guys look like... What do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
Get those birds!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What? Are you kidding? We got some family here.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast. Here are Brad, Lisa, Brian, and Darren.
Welcome to another edition of the It Modcast podcast. Joining us is Brian Young.
God, I love being a turtle!
The Turtle Dork.
He would have loved it.
And also joining us is Lisa Gullickson.
Quick, suck it before the venom reaches my heart.
Wife Dork.
My vag, one best vag, yo vag, one best supporting vag.
Oh, and also joining us is Brad Gullickson.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
Mouth Dork. And I'm your host, Darren Smith.
Warm. Warmer. Disco.
The Disco Dork. You tell anyone about the Artemis, I will hunt you down and unheal you. Also, when I walk away, don't jump on my back again, or I'll f*** you up for real this time. And welcome to the It Modcast podcast.
Yay!
Woo! All in the same dork cave.
I said that that was going to be my quote, Brad, and I totally forgot about it.
Oh, the Hereditary?
Yeah, that's a good quote. Brian, I'm going to need some clarification, as I think a lot of the listeners are. What was that quote from?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, in front of the Danny's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. We just saw that, too. I've seen that twice, and I still didn't pick up Brian's quote.
All right. That is going to be our review cast for later on in the episode, ladies and gentlemen, if you did not know or read the description.
I think I just gave an emotional spoiler.
You did.
Slide whistle.
Like you just mentioned, Brad, yes, we're all in the same room.
Feels good.
It does feel good.
It's been 2 weeks since we've all been in the same room together.
It has.
Yeah.
And but I'm glad to be back.
I have a new RoboCop poster. Love.
You have a badass new RoboCop poster and Usagi Yojimbo.
That's from a year ago, but I framed it finally.
Yay!
And you got the Star Trek Discovery. If I'm not mistaken, it's some type of anniversary for Star Trek 5 yesterday.
Yes, it was that it had come out 20.
Did you celebrate it by watching?
I retweeted some shit.
Oh, okay. All right.
The way we all celebrate.
Yay. Brian, how was... Oh, before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have not done so, if you're new to the podcast...
if you're old to the podcast...
just give us a review on iTunes. It really helps us out. As Wife Dork will have you know, she accepts nothing less than 5 stars.
Only your best. Only send your best, listeners.
Yeah.
5 stars.
She says that since we give you our best, she would like for you to give your best.
Yeah, I'm always giving 110%, which means that technically, if you could, you should give us 5 point... some stars. Some more stars
5 point math.
5 point math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, please do that. It helps us out. Something with algorithms and
making
things
us
like
feel good.
Yeah, and
I think it helps your karma to do something nice for an independent podcast.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything to leave a review of 5 stars either.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything to listen to this free content, which we love giving you.
Yes, that's true. So with that, Brian, how was your week in Dork? Besides extremely busy, I'm assuming.
Yeah, very busy. Actually, I think that's what I'm going to end up talking about. I was going to talk about Hotel Aretmis, but I guess I'll leave that for one of you guys. Since I was a little bit kind of thought the film was mediocre.
Damn.
Whoa!
At best, but...
At best. That means it might have worse. It's worse than mediocre. I'm the only dork who hasn't seen it. And now, because Brian said that, I'm not going to see it.
Oh. Well, I mean, it could be the way I watched the film. I wasn't really in the right frame of mind.
Did you watch it through like an opaque glass?
No.
Did you watch it through your fingers?
No.
You scared?
Hotel Artemis?
Yeah.
No.
How did you watch it? Why? What was the watching experience? Why was it bad?
My eyelids were a bit heavy.
You were sleepy,
You should never watch a movie sleepy.
Never. But I'm trying to get on your guys' level. I'm trying to watch more movies.
Oh, okay.
I sleep through a lot of movies, though, so it's good to give it the old college try. And
that's right.
if you catch some Z's, That's okay.
And it was Movie Pass, thankfully. So.
Dang.
But yeah, it has been a busy week, which I did not know. Usually Hollywood would give announcements that, okay, guys, it is trailer week. But normally this happens about 3 times a year, where you get a lot of trailers that are going to be promoting a lot of films coming out for the upcoming season.
Yeah, but how many trailers did we get this week?
Man, I did some videos for 16.
Oh my
What?
God.
Yeah, 16 of them, which, you know what? I'm going to run down my top 5. I'm going to do my own little fist.
Oh, is it in descending order? It's like, so number 5, number 4, number 3?
No in particular order.
I want to know what the number 1 is.
You can't do a list for Brad without.
Yeah, I know.
I like my rank.
It'd be surprising. Like sometimes a lot of the ones that are my favorites.
I want to write down which one I think is going to be Brian's favorite.
Is this good? Do I need to?
No, I'm writing it down.
You can't look.
No. I was just saying. I don't want any dead air.
No. Go. I've written it down. I'm showing it to the other dorks. You can tell.
This is going to be the lamest magic trick.
What your top
the top one?
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Okay. So, some of my favorites, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that did drop.
That
looks great.
It does. It looks really good. And a lot of people talked about the animation style and what Sony is doing with that. And Miles Morales, and get an older Peter Parker. And they had
Miles Morales voiced by Shamik Moore of Dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Spider-Gwen is in there. And it looks really, really good. Bumblebee, which I've told you guys before, I'm super excited about.
Looks really good.
This is what I tried to tell everybody, but nobody was.
Travis Knight.
This is what I'm saying. So hopefully, like I said before, this could be hopefully the beginning of the new iteration of the Transformer universe. Widows was another one, because I'm looking for what's his name?
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen, coming off of 12 Years a Slave, Hunger, Shame. He's doing something a little bit different.
It's Michael Mann.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
And the cast is it might be one of the best ensembles. John Bernthal, I totally forgot he was in that, with Liam Neeson, Daniel Kaluuya, Brian Tyree Henry, and then all the ladies that's in that film, Michelle Rodriguez, Viola Davis is just amazing. That one I really have my eye on. That looks really,
That's number
really good.
3.
That's 3. I may do 6.
Oh, okay.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Was awesome.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a horror fan, but I do like my classic horror films, my slasher films, growing up with like Jason and Freddy and Michael Myers.
How are you feeling about the whole like retcon? Like everything after the first film doesn't exist.
I do kind of
because you're
like
a H2O dude.
I do like H2O, and H2O in some ways was supposed to be a retcon of like everything that happened like 3, 4. I mean.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. But I think after Resurrection with Busta Rhymes, you had to retcon.
He's what you call a closer.
I like that one. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis did have her head cut off.
I was a little bit nervous watching this trailer, because going back to what a lot of people were saying about the Rob Zombie Halloween films, where you're kind of getting more into the psyche of Michael Myers as a child, when you see the beginning of that film when they go to the asylum, I'm thinking to myself, are you going to start to like show the mystique of who Myers is? You're taking away from the shape, but I'm hoping in the movie you don't really ever get to see his face.
Yeah,
because you see the backside.
Right.
Of him.
I love the way he's shot in this trailer.
Yeah.
I really don't need to see anything more.
And it's truly menacing. That bathroom scene with the teeth.
That's my favorite reaction of the week from Brian is his face when the hand comes up over the stall and sprinkles down the teeth from the mechanic. Brian's face is like, oh!
It's just creepy, man.
Yeah.
Because that lady is not getting out of that situation.
You make like the Bruce Lee face if it, instead of badassness it was replaced with terror.
Yeah. 2 more I want to talk about, which are smaller films. Not smaller, but not some of the more high profile. But one is.
Is this your number 1, or this is your?
This is probably my second favorite.
Okay. Serenity?
No, White Boy Rick. McConaughey.
Yeah.
White Boy Rick.
That trailer looks good, right?
It surprised me. I really liked that trailer. I wasn't expecting the turn where we see like the introduction of who Rick is. We see the family dynamic with Matthew McConaughey. Then when he gets caught, and you think it's going to be one thing, but then when he starts to kind of like persuade his father to come into business with him, and then you see like everything that happens and that he was actually an informant. And just the structure of that trailer and how it's cut to the music, I just thought it was just a brilliantly made trailer that really got me excited for that film a lot more. And McConaughey, man, he's doing it because he's in the other movie Serenity, so I really like that.
And your number one movie?
A Star is Born.
Brad's fucking wrong.
It wasn't on the list at all.
Oh.
First Man is what I guessed.
No.
Oh.
No, A Star is Born.
You're La La Land Chazelle.
Yeah, no. But A Star
well,
is...
fuck me then.
I mean, but if you've seen A Star is Born, like the imagery with the music and hearing Lady Gaga sing that song and Bradley, because this is Bradley Cooper's directorial debut. And, of course, A Star is Born is a famous story that's been done before. And I think it was originally going to be done with, like, Will Smith and Beyonce. So now we have Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
And, like, wasn't Clint Eastwood directing it at one point?
Oh, that's right. Lady Gaga. Yeah. I mean, Clint Eastwood. Lady Gaga. I got her on the brain. Clint Eastwood was attached to this. I think with Beyonce.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood
I think so,
was attached.
Yeah.
But I don't know who the male. It may have been Will Smith or Denzel, but I know, Clint Eastwood was attached to it for a long while. But that trailer just shocked me. It definitely brings the feels. You really get a sense of the chemistry that Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga is going to have. Everybody's saying she gives a tremendous performance. And I just want to see this artist's journey and this story told. I can't wait to watch it. It really grabbed me, and it got me excited to see this film coming this fall. But yeah, there's been a ton.
No love for First Man, though. You know.
I'm excited for it.
Okay.
I'm excited for it. I just did that earlier today from the day we're recording this on Sunday. But there's been a lot.
I just saw the trailer for City of Lies. Did you do a trailer reaction for that one?
A couple weeks ago. Yeah, but that was interesting too. Yeah. So there's a lot of compelling films coming out this fall, whether they hit or not.
Girl in the Spider's Web.
That was actually
I
good.
like that trailer. Did you do a trailer reaction?
Yeah, I did that one too. I haven't seen the remake with David Fincher. Daniel
It's a
Craig.
pretty looking movie.
Oh,
that's about it.
Yeah.
But Fede Alvarez coming off of. I think I'm probably the only one here that like Don't Breathe from our time before.
Wait, that's who directed the
Girl with the Spider's Web? Yeah,
the Evil Dead dude.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. But he has such a visual style to this that you can definitely see he has a nice.
His sensibilities match up well with
Yeah.
noir Swedish horror stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But it's just run down. Bad Times at the El Royale. At the El Royale.
I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
That looks great. Stars Born, Bumblebee. The Lego Movie 2. It looks fun. Mortal Engines is probably the weakest.
Yeah, I don't care.
Don't care about that.
Dang.
Operation Finale looks great. Wreck-It Ralph.
What's that?
Operation Finale is a World War II film where Ben Kingsley is like the second in command to Hitler. But he escapes, and he's kind of like living, and it's almost like Munich in a way, where Oscar Isaacs is forming a team to capture him. So they have to basically like bring him back in, and he was responsible for a lot of killings during World War II, and he's like living somewhere in America, like hiding out with a different identity.
Trevor Slattery.
No, I missed that.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Reference.
Operation Finale looks great. Suspiria.
Man.
I don't know too much about that, but
that trailer though.
It's interesting.
I love the dread and the mood of that.
That's about the only thing I could say about it was just tonally. It really does give you that sense of dread.
Which I think, based on the source material, is important.
Yeah,
if you want people to be on board and okay with the remake.
Yeah, and I've never seen the original, so I don't really know. And one that came out the week before was Yardy, the new directorial debut by Idris Elba, which I'm really looking forward to. So there's a lot to get excited about this fall.
Yeah, this was an intense week for movie trailers.
Yeah,
and I was pleasantly surprised by most of them.
Okay.
I'm with you. I think Suspiria is the movie I'm looking forward to the most.
Okay.
Which is something I just never thought I would ever say. And then the biggest surprise was Widows because of the filmmaker that McQueen has shown himself to be, having a little more fun with Widows, but not a ton of fun
from his previous works.
Yeah. And then Halloween, that turned things around. I'm on board with that project.
Yeah, I just love that score. That's such an iconic score.
Yeah,
when that kicks in, it's just
and the way they use it in the trailer too. How that first ping comes in with the logo. Oh yeah,
it's great. So yeah, it's been a great week, I guess, when it comes to that, and busy week for me.
So I guess we'll keep watching movies, right, guys?
I guess so.
Yay!
All right, Lisa, how was your week in Dork?
My week in Dork was great, as it is always great. Living my best Dork life now.
Yep.
My week slightly less busy than Brad's week because Brad had to pre-watch all of my movies this week. So he had to pre-watch both Hereditary and Ocean's 8 for me for the V stuff. Because, like with horror movies, especially ones that are kind of can be supernatural or, steeped in like realism type elements, V can be a factor, can be a surprising factor to that. And then with Ocean's 8, like I was going in with like no trepidations, and then I got a message from Jill on she direct messaged me on Facebook, and she's like, Ocean's 8, not VF. I'm like,
it's a plot point almost.
Yes. I don't know. That seems to be like the key move of every heist now. So lame. I remember like when I saw the first Mission Impossible, there's also a poisoning scene in that. Ooh, spoilers.
In the David Mamet heist, that the same thing is done.
So, and I love heist films. So, who knew that I would be going into Ocean's 8 way more frightened than I was for Hereditary? Because Hereditary turns out VF. So that's nice. I'm going to spend my week in Dork talking Hereditary. Don't worry. I'm not going to spoil anything. I know Aaron mentioned that he did even emotional spoilers. He listens to nothing. So he's probably tuning out right now. So Aaron, great seeing you when you came over to record Rest in Pictures. Yay. Glad you're doing great. You can listen to me later, I guess. Right. So bye. Bye, Aaron.
But you're not doing any plot spoilers.
I'm not doing any plot spoilers.
Nothing that you can't see in the trailer.
Exactly. The specifics I'm talking are trailer specifics. I might talk vaguely about other stuff. I know that Darren has some shit he wants to spoil, so we'll put that after our outros. So if you've already seen Hereditary, or you don't give a shit about spoilers, and you just want to keep listening to us, then...
So we're going to have a new special segment after the review cast?
I swear we've totally done this before. Right. We can treat it like it's a new and special
thing.
We
don't have to. I can take the social media to continue my conversation.
Never mind. So all of that shit that I said.
No. I think we should do it.
I think we should do it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll have we'll do the entire review cast and then a bonus like boop, 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 boop.
Stinger. Yeah.
Yeah, as our stinger, we'll have whatever.
Whatever the fuck.
Because we're processing this movie. This movie is dense.
It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
So I had from the trailer, I had my guards up for how scary this movie was going to be, and plus a lot of people are talking about, this movie deals in scares, and but for me, I like when the supernatural elements started kind of revealing themselves, I was relieved because for me, the opening of this film was so tremendously sad that I was like relieved to be scared.
You were bawling 20 minutes into this movie.
It was literally too much. Like I'm not into like I've seen movies where it's just like things just get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, misery porn is not a Lisa thing.
It's not my bag. Like I was just like I have enough sadness like on my own that I don't need to take on other people's imaginary sadness. So this is the info from the trailer. So this is all in the trailer. So Toni Collette plays Annie, who is a mother who just lost her mother that she had like this complicated relationship with. And then she has 2 kids, a daughter who clearly has some kind of extraordinary needs, emotional needs as well. She has the tongue clicky thing, and she has a lot of anxiety going on about death, and she's like emotionally drawn. And then there's the teenage son, where it's just like having a teenage son is a person with extraordinary needs.
You know what I mean? This is the kid from we most recently seen him in Jumanji, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and My Friend Dahmer.
Dahmer.
Yeah. It's funny because I kept on thinking that he was the kid from Death Note. Did you remember Death Note?
Yeah.
And I was thinking that it was the same kid. That's his brother. That's his older brother. Because to me, they look the same.
They do.
They look very similar.
Yeah.
Like if you see them next to each other, like they're clearly like related.
They share features. Yeah.
Yeah. But because I appreciated, like, Death Note was a terrible movie, but I really did appreciate that kid's performance. Nat Wolf is the brother's name.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of equating them as this same person, but they're not. They're individuals. So good for them. So before that supernatural element comes, like their lives are just unspeakably tragic, and but in a rooted, like in a realistic way, and mistakes are made, and they're the kind of mistakes that can happen, and that can really ruin a family. And so like when that kind of tension, like when the spooky shit starts, I'm like, whew, like thank God. The performances were amazing, right? Toni Collette as the mom, totally amazing. Alex Wolff as Peter.
His bad choice, and then the outcome of that, and his moment.
Yeah.
As far as like performances go, I was floored by his performance in that moment. Like it really made me feel. It put me in the passenger seat with him in that moment, and he was just even throughout the rest of the film, he was outstanding. Both him and Toni Collette, I think.
To me, like what I see like as like a tie of his performance in My Friend Dahmer and in this is like he seems to be making his young career in being like sweaty and being stoned and being terrified. And it's he feels very real.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I like the fact that, you know, he's a kind of a gangly kid, and he doesn't look like your regular actor. He has a very unique look, and I don't know. I just really like him.
I would also just throw in that Gabriel Byrne has a very tough role in this film.
Yeah, he does.
But he nails the dad who is just trying to keep the family's shit together.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, sure, his accent like floats in and out a couple times, but I think he's phenomenal in the movie. And also Ann Dowd as the friend, also very, very good.
Yeah.
What you're saying about Gabriel Byrne is the dad who's trying to keep the family together. I think one of the things for me, like what Lisa's talking about prior to the supernatural elements being introduced, I think one of the things that's so stifling about the film is that the tragedy of you, like, it feels like everyone's just trying to keep their shit together and failing miserably.
Yeah, like to me, like what I like about Gabriel Byrne's character is that you have to infer a lot about what he's thinking. You can tell that in that relationship,
he's controlling his emotions. Or desperately attempting to control his emotions.
Because he fears his family members. And he can feel things kind of spiraling out of control. And so he's just trying to maintain some normalcy. And then there's a split that happens. And like you just see him like really failing to act. Not act as an actor, but failing to do anything as a father, which is really, it creates a lot of tension because you see him going like, you know, like what is he going to do, and starting to do something and then not doing it.
And did you feel like with his inactivity, did you feel like blaming him, or did you find yourself in a place of understanding?
No, like to me, it was like, he's been in this family, and like to me he seemed almost like a prisoner, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of his character is explained by what we don't see before the events of this film.
We don't know how he and Annie got together. We don't know what his familial background is. We don't know what his job is. Like, we know nothing about him.
Yeah. Byrne has to bring everything, and I think he
really does.
But yeah, I would want to talk more about his character in our stinger.
Okay.
Yeah. Millie Shapiro plays Charlie, who is the girl, and she played Matilda on Broadway, which I think is like so, like, you know, she, you know, in this in this movie, she doesn't come across as a song and dance lady. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what this film was missing. A musical
No,
number.
no.
You don't think so? Shape of Water style.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is how I feel. Tap number.
She was great. I told Brad going into the movie, I didn't have any expectations. I was coming for Toni Collette's performance and her performance, just based off the trailer alone, and neither one disappointed.
It's clear that she's very talented.
Yeah.
A really sensitive young girl, and just awesome.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
Yeah.
What I think this movie does best, and what makes, for me, I found Hereditary, even with like my open public sobbing in the beginning of the film, and then the tonal shift. What I think this movie really nails is that it's got a ton of moving parts. There are a lot of clues going on, and if you are the type of viewer to keep track of those clues, they fall together in a really unexpected way, but in a way that's really satisfying, which is hard to do because you watch a lot of these films and if you're a clue watcher, you go, oh, well, the movie is going to turn out like this. There's no way of foreseeing how Hereditary is going to turn out. Yeah. It's shocking and really interesting and something that you don't see a lot.
Yeah, it makes a second watch really rewarding.
I mean, yeah,
I was necessary.
Yeah, I loved my second watch with Lisa. One, because I got to
watch me watch it,
watch her watch it.
Like
which
I was
doing
full on like girlfriend in the theater, where I was like full fetal and like half hiding behind his shoulder and like looking over his shoulder to watch this movie. But mostly because I was so sad.
But, you know, when people are calling it the scariest film of the year, the scariest film of the decade, the scariest film since The Exorcist, for me, it's not about the scares. It's about the construction of the narrative. And it's really, really well it's pieced together.
Yeah, to me, it's more about being dreadful. Like, it's a dread-filled, like, and I see a lot of parallels with this and The Witch, which makes a lot of sense.
Same.
I think if you at this point in the discussion, then it's extremely important to bring up Ari Aster, this first-time director.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy.
this is his debut feature, and this is easily goes up there with the great debut films. It's insane how well put together. Like you just said, the construction of the narrative and the ability to, from the opening frame, put that sense of dread in the audience.
I would say from the opening title card, which is the obituary.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then the zoom in, which is how the trailer starts, is also how the film starts, with the zoom in to this diorama, and then the diorama becoming, you know.
Oh, and like just, I don't know, all the miniature stuff and all the storytelling that's going on in the miniatures.
I
really
think that we should check in on Liz and Jimmy, because from what I've seen in films, like if you're a person that makes miniatures, your shit is fucked up.
Oh no!
Well, so here's the thing, though. What I found interesting coming out of that,
Sweet Success right now before they murder each other.
I saw it with Liz and Jimmy at the Alamo for the first screening, and they did not particularly like the movie.
Huh?
Yeah, and I thought, because you saw too much of yourself in it.
Liz, no.
I do like. I have two things I want to say simultaneously. The first thing I want to say is, like, leaving the theater and going to the ladies' restroom. There was definitely a conversation of people who had just come out of Hereditary and going, like, that movie made no sense, and who picked this film, and it was Janice, and of course it was Janice, because Janice has weird taste in movies, and we totally should have seen Ocean's 8. And I just wanted to, like, go up and hold these women's hands and go, like, let me explain Hereditary to you, because of that satisfying feeling of, and, you know, I know that Brad mentioned that the cinema score for this film is not so hot.
D+.
So,
really?
like, people are coming out of this movie and going, like,
Well, I think it's like sometimes with quote unquote art house horror films like this, The Witch, or even Babadook, or A Ghost Story, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see the marketing, you hear it's the scariest thing since The Exorcist. You love The Exorcist. Right. Well, you walk into Hereditary, you don't get The Exorcist.
Right.
No.
You know, you get a movie that takes its time and does not repeat information. It drops it in an obituary. It drops it in a scene from a diorama. And you have to be paying attention throughout the film to enjoy the climax of the movie.
I also think that there are some things that are used artfully that you wouldn't see. I'm talking particularly about the end of the film that you would not see in a standard film.
Horror film, yeah.
Standard horror film that I think would put a lot of normies, not film people off.
Hereditary
and I hate to
is
say
not
that.
A jump scare factory.
No, it's not. And
it does have some pretty great jump scares.
It does.
In it,
though. Some of those, like the more like all of the more traditional horror-y things that got us excited in the trailer. That's pretty much all you see of that kind of stuff. But all of the other stuff is like super interesting. Yeah. So
what we're saying is we want to keep talking about Hereditary. We want to make this our review cast.
Yeah.
But no, we must stop because Ocean's 8 is the film everyone wants to talk about this week.
Oh, man. Oh, there's one more thing I want to say. Can I say it?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so the last thing I want to say is like this movie also has like a lot of narrative strands going on that like can even go like unnoticed, but they add to the creating of the dread. And I love how with the making of the miniatures, Annie is also an artist who is working on a deadline. Like, and that deadline coming up,
it's the Snake Plissken clock in Escape from New York. Right?
Exactly. So you really like there is this other thing that is going on underneath. Like, so it's just like this counterpoint of emotion and pressure and
because you're watching her lose her shit and you're going in the back of your mind, she's not gonna make that deadline.
She's not gonna like you know, you can post all the post-its in the world, this shit ain't getting done. But does it get done? We don't know. You have to watch the movie to find out.
Yep.
Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about Hereditary. Like, Hereditary is not the kind of movie I would go to the theater and see. Like, I wouldn't have seen it if Brad had not seen it and said, I want to talk to you about this movie. Like, Brian and I had both planned not to see Hereditary. So, Brian, how are you feeling now about seeing Hereditary? Do you think you're going to check it out?
I might check it out at some point.
Because I think it's the kind of movie that people are going to talk about, and you don't want to be on the outs with that conversation.
Yeah. Guilty Brian into seeing it. I think I don't know if Brian, you will enjoy this movie or not.
It's not the kind of thing a person enjoys. It is a person you're going to endure this movie.
I don't know. I could also see Brian like connecting with these characters.
At least the first two acts. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a lot about like family stuff, and Brian likes that stuff.
Yeah, Brian, you like family stuff.
Yeah, I do.
This is some fucked up family stuff.
Say, Brian, they tricking you right now. It's some family shit in it. But...
This is basically the Family Stone. Remember that Sarah Michelle Parker movie? Yeah, the Family Stone with like a twist. Yeah. What a twist!
Yeah. Oh, what a twist!
I would say worth seeing though. Definitely worth
definitely worth seeing. A lot more fun to talk about than to see. It's really like a tense and sad and sometimes scary, but mostly sad movie.
Yeah. All right. Brad, how was your week in Dork?
A great week in Dork.
Yep.
Hereditary was certainly my favorite film that I saw this week. I did also check out Hotel Aretmis, like as Brian alluded to. Brian seemed too enthused by the movie. And I got to say, I was shocked at how much I liked Hotel Artemis.
Yeah. I mean, I need to rewatch it, but I mean, I enjoyed it.
For me, it was very much a B movie, right? Yeah. It's odd that we got both Upgrade last week and Hotel Artemis this week because they kind of live in similar universes. You know, that slight near future where, there's some fun extrapolation of technology going on. And yes, Hotel Aretmis is basically the Continental from John Wick, the movie. The difference being here that it's a hospital for the nefarious individuals of Los Angeles. So it opens up with Sterling K. Brown and his brother getting shot. Oh, and it's Brian Tyree Henry is his brother. Yeah. And they both get shot. And Kenneth Choi from Captain America: The First Avenger. All three of them get shot during the process of this heist, and they have membership to the Hotel Aretmis. And the Hotel Aretmis is run by Jodie Foster as the nurse practitioner and Dave Bautista as the orderly. And, you know, when they get to the Hotel Aretmis, they're let inside. Again, I don't want to spoil too many things about this movie because not enough people have seen it already. But they come on in. In the hotel are already Charlie Day and Sophia Boutella. Charlie Day's doing Charlie Day stuff. Yeah. You know, like if you like Charlie Day, you're going to like him in it. If you find him cloying, you're going to not like him in it. Yeah. Sophia Boutella, I loved in this movie.
She's great, right?
Yeah.
She has like the best segment.
Oh, agreed.
Badass.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it because I really want Lisa to see the movie.
Yeah.
And I actually, even though the trailer spoils a couple more actors that are in this film, I don't want to mention them. I'm sorry, Darren.
Great.
I know you want to talk about that guy. I don't want to mention it because Lisa has not seen the trailer, and she doesn't know who's going to pop up.
Lisa, you have such a gem in the middle of this.
So I think we've sold Lisa on Dave Bautista's in it.
Yay.
Jodie Foster's in it. Sterling K. Brown. You like all three of those.
I do.
Charlie Day. You like Charlie Day.
Sure.
Yeah. Sophia Boutella.
I would want to be Sophia Boutella.
Yeah, don't we all?
Dave Bautista is great in the movie.
Well, your quote from the beginning of the film, like that moment is so fantastic,
right?
But I love the world that they have set up.
Same.
You know, they're on lockdown because there's a massive riot happening in Los Angeles because of the Clearwater Institute is charging for free, fresh water, and that's not cool, man.
Right.
So we're gonna riot, and it makes references to current society in very obvious ways, but also some cool sly nods as well.
Yeah.
So
Jodie Foster, talk about.
I mean, Jodie Foster's so good. And what was it? The last movie I saw Jodie Foster in? Elysium.
Yeah.
And that Jodie Foster and this Jodie Foster are light years apart. Great, fantastic performance from her. I love what happens with her character. And yeah, okay, it is a low budget film. Drew Pearce does not have much to work with, but what he does with it is a blast. This
and similar to Upgrade, like what you
and similar to Upgrade, but I think I think Lee Winnell. I don't know what their budgets are, but I think Lee Winnell makes Upgrade look even more like a larger budget film. I mean, I think he turns his budget and makes it look like $100 million movie.
Yeah.
Whereas like Drew Pearce's film, it's it's a bottle episode, right?
Yeah.
You're all trapped in this hotel together.
Yeah.
It looks low budget, but it doesn't matter because they have so much fun with it, and the action's solid, the twists and turns are solid, and the characters are just chewing up scenery.
Yeah.
So if you dig that grindhouse aesthetic, I think you're gonna have some fun with Hotel Artemis.
Yeah.
I don't know. You saw it too. You really liked it. What are your thoughts?
Same thing. That was like the first thing that became apparent to me when watching it was seeing it so close to Upgrade and how these two feel like they live in a similar wheelhouse in that they're taking smaller budgets and they're doing the best that they can to expand and to establish a larger world outside of these, as in Hotel Artemis's case, to establish a larger world outside of this specific location, because what's going on in the outside world directly correlates to what's happening in the Artemis. And so I think that both films were really successful in doing that and in establishing a larger world that you only get a glimpse of. And you really only need a glimpse of it because the main chunk of the story, I feel like, is captivating enough to keep you. And Sterling K. Brown's character, he's not your typical... It's one of those films, he's not your typical lead. He's not a good guy, but he's not a bad guy.
Right.
And he is...
There are varying degrees of evil residing at Hotel Aretmis.
Yeah, and I like... But I like how he is an intelligent lead, but I also like that he has, as good as a criminal as he is, he does have this connection and obligation to his brother, and I enjoy. So for me, I think all of the characters, even though the movie's not long, it's pretty lean. But I feel like all of the characters are given just enough that they feel well-rounded.
And the actors are great in those characters.
Absolutely. Even Dave Bautista as the orderly, right? that's his job. He's the orderly. If what's Jodie Foster's character's name?
Well, she's the nurse. We don't learn her name until later in the film. In fact, we don't know any of these characters' names other than their monikers, right?
So designated room suites.
Yeah. If you're staying in the Honolulu suite, you're Honolulu. Waikiki is Sterling K. Brown, and niece is Sophia Botella.
Yep.
Charlie Day is
I forgot. I can't remember what his room is, but
anyway, yeah.
I just like the fact that even though you don't even know the actual real names of these people, I feel like they were given enough to make them interesting and well-rounded characters. Like somebody like Dave Bautista's character, he's the orderly, but you can tell that there's a history between he and the nurse just by his respect for her, but also you can tell that they've been working together so long that he's allowed to have a more personal and casual conversation with her as well
than other characters. Yeah.
Right,
Everest is his name.
Everest, yeah.
Acapulco. That's Charlie Day.
Yeah,
Acapulco.
Yeah, and so in Sophia Botella's character, she has a history with Sterling K. Brown that is alluded to, and it also goes with, like, again, giving us a little bit that speaks to something like much larger that happened way before this film, and it could potentially happen after the film. So there's a lived-in feel to the film, is what I'm saying.
I'm really looking forward to Sophia Botella getting a movie for herself. Because this character is very much like stuff that she's played in Kick-Ass or Atomic Blonde, and she's so great as the assassin.
Yeah.
But give her own movie.
Vehicle. Yeah, because I feel like she's more than proven herself. Yeah. She's a standout in the film.
Yeah. Of course, I love her from Star Trek Beyond. Oh yeah, Jayla.
Oh yeah, she's in that. What else has she done?
I mean, she was also in The Mummy recently.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she needs better than that. She deserves better than that. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the film. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting much from it. I saw the trailer. I enjoyed the trailer. And I felt like it was a nice lean film. It had some great cameos of characters that pop up for a bit here and there. When it gets to the action sequences, I felt like they were very well done. And again, because of, outside of the budgets, I feel like because of the caliber of acting that's going on selling these characters, for me, I think that was way more than enough to find something.
It was a ton of fun.
It was entertaining.
It was just what I wanted when I bought my ticket.
Yeah, agreed. What else did you got? Any? Do you read any comics this week?
You know what? I actually have not gotten to the comic book store this week. Sad for me. That's pretty much it. That was Ocean's 8, Hereditary, and Hotel Aretmis took up my theatrical viewings.
Yeah.
I watched the usual garbage at home. Jim Kelly's Death Dimension.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right. For my week in Dork, I pretty much saw the same things that you saw, except that, this weekend, all the way until like the 13th of June, is the soft opening of the Alamo Drafthouse in Woodbridge.
Soft
Virginia.
opening sounds dirty.
Darren gave it that soft opening.
So
I didn't think it until you said it.
So of course I had to go out there and check it out and see what the Alamo Drafthouse has in store for that area. And it's in a new development, like shopping development. So there's stores, restaurants, and everything around there, similar to the one Loudon,
right?
And everything that surrounds the Alamo Drafthouse.
And like how the one Loudon was there first, and then everything
kind of blossomed around it.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what they got going on out there at Woodbridge. But I will say, like, they're off to a nice start. There's some a learning curve as far as like with the new servers and stuff like that. But as far as an overall experience, and the theater itself, it's a very nice theater. They have their own. They have what they're calling, and from my understanding, all of the Alamo Drafthouses from here on out are going to get a big show auditorium.
Yeah, this is the first of the franchise.
Right.
Yeah.
And so basically, it's the official first, I want to say, because Alamo and One Loudon has the Theater A.
Yeah.
And you said that you felt like the Big Show Theater was bigger than the one in
well, it is bigger.
It is bigger. Yeah. It's a full foot bigger.
Yeah. Really?
It's a foot bigger.
Because I felt like I felt like it was about the same size, but I thought that both theaters are awesome. The difference being though that the one in Woodbridge, the table arrangement is different, and the seatings.
I think that's really what I'm responding to is the space itself is bigger, and the screen is bigger, and also it's got a much more advanced projector.
Yeah. It has the same sound as Theater A.
Yeah.
And with a new projector.
It's basically the projector that they have at the Udvar-Hazy.
Yeah. So laser projection.
Yeah.
And so the seatings is different. So every auditorium in the Woodbridge Alamo Drafthouse has the leather recliners, and they all share the same tables. And the difference between this one and One Loudon, for those of you who don't know,
Theater A doesn't have recliners at One Loudon.
Only in the first row. Right.
Yeah.
So every seat in the Big Show Theater in Woodbridge is like the first row in the Alamo in One Loudon.
So what I loved about this is because every seat's a recliner, there's a lot more space between the rows, and therefore, if you got some jackass behind you, which you probably wouldn't in an Alamo, but in the rare occasion that happens, there's less of a there's more of a barrier of sound between the two of you. So even like popcorn and eating and that kind of stuff is less distracting in the Big Show.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own table. So like at One Loudon, you have to go with a friend. Otherwise, you're sharing your nachos with a stranger. So that's nice.
And I felt like so I got there. Well, actually, the first thought I had when I bought my tickets to actually even when they had first announced Woodbridge was that okay, so we're cool with the creative manager at One Loudon. What's up, Brian? We're cool with the Andy Garrison in Winchester.
He's our hero.
Yeah, and so I said, well, obviously we have to introduce ourselves at Woodbridge. So and that's exactly what I did. During the first screening in the Big Show auditorium, which they were showing Ocean's 8, and we were actually the first audience to view a film in there, and also in the auditorium there we saw Hereditary. But anyway, the creative manager comes out and he introduces the staff. He introduces himself. His name is Cajun. What up, Cajun? How cool a name is that? Spelled with a K. And he says, this is our soft opening. We're trying to get our footing here. All food is going to be 50% off. So please order. Tip your wait staff. If we do anything wrong, please let us know so we can perfect our service. So when we have our heart opening on the 14th, everything will be smooth sailing. And so he was really kind. He did a great intro. And so I said, all right, well, after Ocean's 8, I got to introduce myself. And I did. And he's a really cool guy. And I told him, our history with the Alamo Drafthouse and how we love promoting the films and the events there. And then if there's anything that he wants promoted at Woodbridge, like just let us know and we'll champion that as well. And he's really cool, real down to earth, real open to that. And so I'm excited as far as I told him, I said, my buddies we just love watching movies and we want other people to watch movies too. So we're extremely excited to be a part of this new Alamo Drafthouse and whatever programming that he comes up with. So I'm really looking forward to it. And
I loved the building.
Yeah. It has a big at the South Lamar where they have Fantastic Fest. It's got a big bar just like that where like if they're having a film club or they're having a book club like Winchester does.
Yeah,
there's
the
a great meeting space.
The Ghost Fleet, which I really
like.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's cool. Badass.
And I liked the hallway setup. I felt like there was a lot of room.
I thought that it was more cramped.
I think that was because it's
Loudon,
it is certainly wider than the Loudon one.
But it's like one long line. Like I like that how it's like split in half at One Loudon. So it's like you're either going to the right and to the left. Where here, like everybody's being shuffled the same direction.
I don't know. I appreciated it because I felt like there was more space to hang with people.
It doesn't have a big, huge lobby.
Yeah, the lobby's not as large.
It's tiny.
And the decorations with all the Grindhouse movie posters, It's Alive and Zachariah and Superfly TNT. I loved all that stuff. But the thing about the Big Show, I mean, the most Instagrammable element of the Big Show is you walk in through the Creature from the Black Lagoon's mouth.
And that wasn't up when I went.
Oh,
they
no.
had just picked that up. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I went to the soft opening.
Oh, wow.
Super soft.
That was like a difference of a day because you went on Friday and we went on Saturday.
There was a sign. I saw the sign said that, there's going to be a sign there.
Oh, well, that mouth.
Pretty cool.
That's what Brad really responds to. I was like, you can have your Dolby Atmos sound and your massive screen, but I get to walk through the Creature of the Black Lagoon's mouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Faye, you need to come out and check out the Woodbridge Alamo.
Oh yeah.
It's another interesting thing is at least the big show and then the regular size theater auditorium that I went into, actually a smaller one. They both had 2 entrances, so there's a left and a right side that you can go in on. That's a difference too.
Yeah,
you
nice.
don't see that in.
Kurtzke was taking us around up top in the projection room, and there's like one theater. I can't remember which one it is. It's like Theater 4 that actually has an overhang. So when you go in, you're actually sitting underneath the projector. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I want to watch a movie in that theater.
Yeah. So I'm excited. And another movie theater opened up. Another Alamo Drafthouse opens up, and we're all in. And he's telling me, Cajun's telling me that they got another one. The Crystal City one is opening next year, and then the one downtown, I want to say around Gallery Place, is opening in 2020. Yeah. So that brand is only expanding and getting larger. And hopefully our relationships with the Alamo Drafthouse will expand and get larger as well. So we can bring all of our listeners more cool content, and we can see more cool movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my weekend dork. When we come back from the break, we will be talking about Ocean's 8. That rhyme, right?
Yep. Sure.
Directed by Gary Ross.
Yeah.
Starring Sandra Bullock, Cate Blanchette, Awkwafina, Rihanna,
Mindy Kaling.
Helena Bonham Carter.
That's who.
Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson and Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we come back, we'll be talking that. Stay tuned.
Hey, this is Liz from People I Think Are Cool, a bi-weekly podcast where I interview my favorite creatives from across the globe. If you're looking for a dose of creative inspiration, then go to peopleithinkarecool.com or subscribe to People I Think Are Cool on iTunes and Stitcher.
You like film, from cult to classic, from blockbuster to B-movies. And there just isn't that one place with all the fan fervor and passion that's covering the kind of mad, diverse brilliance that you love.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
AfterMovieDiner.com is that fan-built movie nirvana just for you, featuring the sweet, sweet writings of the wife dork herself. AfterMovieDiner.com. Go there. Be the best you can be.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and it's time to talk about Ocean's 8. The new film from Gary Ross, starring Sandra Bullock, Cate Blanchett, and all those other people named just before the break. As we usually do, we're going to do the good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to go round robin with our thoughts, those points on the film. Starting with Brian, since he is to my left. I'm going to go clockwise. Brian, you're good of Ocean's 8. You enjoyed the film quite a bit, right? More than Brad and Lisa.
What? Spoilers? Jeez.
Emotional spoilers, Darren.
Oh, emotional spoilers. Sorry, Aaron.
Somebody accused me of
Aaron
emotional...
came back?
Yeah, but...
Aaron generally waits until after he's seen the movie. So Aaron could be listening to this like weeks from now.
Well, we're going to spoil, like we always do, all of Ocean's 8.
Okay, if this is future Aaron, weeks from now... Aaron,
Danny Ocean is dead.
Oh.
Maybe.
That's
the ending.
He's totally not. In Ocean's 9 or whatever, he's popping back.
All right. Is that part of your good, Brian, the absence of Danny Ocean?
No. Actually, I like the cast. I thought the chemistry between all 8, 9 of the ladies that we have here, I thought was really, really good. To be honest, that's about most of what I enjoyed. I mean, we'll get more into the bad. I mean, it was enough to kind of hold my me liking the film. I really just enjoyed Sandra Bullock, Cate Blanchett, who's always great. Kind of took the sideline a little bit to Sandra Bullock and her character. I thought a lot of the supporting characters, Helena Bonham Carter, Anne Hathaway. We see her in so many different roles. Last year in the kaiju film, I can't think of the name.
Colossal.
So to see her play so many different facets of characters and types of characters, Mindy Kaling I thought was really good. So yeah, I thought all their chemistry together. And Rihanna was really, really fun. A fun character to watch.
Where do you place it in her career so far? Like, is it like Valerian level,
Battleship,
or Battleship?
It's above Battleship.
It's her best performance. Yeah. Like, she's good at it. I thought Rihanna was good at this movie.
Yeah,
I'm just giving her a little shit because she doesn't answer my calls.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, and of course, I mean, the score by Dan Pemberton, he's becoming one of my favorite composers. Of course, he's the guy that did King Arthur, that I love his score with that. And so yeah, he's done a lot of stuff with Guy Ritchie.
What it about? Like, I saw you talking on Twitter or Facebook somewhere that you really like the score. And to be honest, I'm really unfamiliar with this composer, and I did not have a positive reaction to the score. I felt like it was trying to do what was going on in the first Ocean's 11.
Well, that's what I kind of liked about it, is that it was, I mean, well, that might go against some of my bad points when we get to Gary Ross and some of the filmmaking of it, but I thought he was able to kind of take what was done in the original trilogy, specifically Ocean's 11 and 13, and kind of do something that was a little bit different, a little bit fresh, a little bit. Because what I've kind of noticed with him is like he definitely has kind of like a punk rock style to him, but he's able to kind of infuse that with a lot of the classical themes that we get to know, especially with Ocean's 11. But I really like that what he did with King Arthur and some of the stuff that he's done with Guy Ritchie. I think he did Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yep.
Which I can't really remember that one too much because I've only seen that movie once. But he's a composer that I've kind of been on notice recently, and I'm kind of interested to see more of what he does.
I honestly don't remember King Arthur's score or Man from U.N.C.L.E. I need to go back and look at and listen to them, I guess.
King Arthur, I download that. I listen to that all the time.
I feel like we've had a lot of nostalgic scores of late, you know, because we live in a world of sequels and remakes.
Yeah.
You know, you look at John Williams' Last Jedi score, or what Giacchino did with Rogue One, or the guy who did Solo, where they pick up all these cues and themes from previous films and try to incorporate them into a new experience. And Ocean's 8 doesn't really play with Ocean's 11's themes, but it does try to replicate the score of Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
And for me, it ultimately didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's mostly my my good in the film. Like I said, I really just love watching these ladies interact with each other, and just the cast that really just kind of carried me through the film. So kind of enjoyed that.
Okay. Lisa, you're good.
Brian kind of took my good.
I think Brian's going to take a lot of the good. I mean, that's the good, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed the cast. I like the fact that this movie introduced me to Awkwafina as a person. I think because she got cast in this movie, she got to be on an episode of Phoebe Robinson's podcast, So Many White Guys, with 6 O's. And I found her story very inspirational. She was like a YouTube chick who, you know, was putting her raps on YouTube, and she kind of got discovered that way, in this kind of niche way that you wouldn't expect, and now she's popping up in movies. I just think that that's absolutely amazing. I wrote down that Cate Blanchette's wardrobe in particular is amazing. She looks boss in every single fucking scene. Maybe I need bangs. Maybe that would make me more like Cate Blanchett. Maybe I need some reflective sunglasses.
I mean, she can make the most absurd outfits look absolutely rad. At the end of the film, after, you know, she's done what she's done, and she puts the motorcycle away, and she meets Sandra Bullock at the crosswalk. She turns the corner, and she's in that like jeweled dress.
It's a Green Lantern Gumby joint going on.
I was like, this is the silliest outfit I've ever seen, but damn, does she look bad.
She was working it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that all of the outfits were super fashion forward and kind of aspirational as you watch all of these women look amazing. The costume design was by Sarah Edwards, and she killed it. It was, I mean, all of those women look absolutely amazing. I liked the chick who played Rihanna's little sister.
Oh yeah, no, she's Leslie. What was the sister's name?
Oh, I don't remember. I should have looked that up.
Nineball is Leslie, but yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, I liked her. She was fun. Yeah. That's my good.
All right, Brad.
I echo what you guys have said. I think the cast is a lot of fun. In particular, Cate Blanchett is really fantastic in the movie. I wanted more of Cate Blanchett. Anytime they were in the room as a group, I enjoyed the film the most. At the end, even after they've accomplished this score, and Anne Hathaway pops in and adds another little bit of character dynamic to this group, that was like the height of the movie. Yeah. And I thought Anne Hathaway was great playing the actress character, playing, she's savagely mocking her persona or the persona of actresses in general. And I think she's a lot of fun in the movie. She's become one of those actors that I, she's on the list of like, okay, Charlize Theron's doing a movie, I'm going to see it. George Clooney's doing a movie, I'm going to see it. Anne Hathaway's doing a movie,
I love that because you wouldn't anticipate like Anne Hathaway being on a list like that, but she's really come through in the past couple of years.
Especially when I was a jerk and going like, Princess Diaries, the Devil Wears Prada, blah.
Yeah.
But really, it all came down to Colossal turning my entire mind around for her. Although I also really like her Catwoman in Dark Knight Strikes Again or Dark Knight Returns.
Damn, Strikes Again. All right.
Dark Knight Rises. There you go. There's a lot of Dark Knight Batman titles, okay? I'd watch Dark Knight Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
But yeah, she's become one of those actors that I really, really respond positively towards. And even though her character might be the most cartoonish of the entire cast, I loved what she was doing.
Same.
So besides that, I mean, I think I'm reserved to that. I would say that I did appreciate the few touches they did to tie in with the other series. I loved seeing Elliot Gould return at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I really, the reveal that Yang,
the Amazing Yen,
Yen, thank you, the Amazing Yen was conspiring with them was a lot of fun too.
I thought that was kind of lame though because like they couldn't find a female gymnast.
Well, you gotta get Yen in. You gotta get these other cats in.
But he was really the only person doing something really cool. Like all of the ladies were just like, "Oh, I'm looking fabulous," and "Ew, I found a necklace." But like, he got to do all of the real badass secret spy
I think
shit.
Cate Blanchett's Lou does some cool badass stuff.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess okay. Well, I still liked the touches, Lisa, and they had this whole thing about Danny is dead, but maybe he's not dead.
You better be in there.
I really liked the setup to Danny Ocean pulling the ultimate con, and I think maybe I would have preferred Clooney to have popped up at the end to really pay off that idea.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
Because the final line, Brian's quote from the beginning of this episode, didn't quite work. It left me more with a...
To me, I feel like they're aggressively saving him for a sequel, which is lame.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I like the actors.
Okay,
I like the chemistry.
All right. Goddamn. All right. So I echo everything everyone has said thus far. The idea of Anne Hathaway skewering her, the Hollywood actor persona and being a prima donna and everything like that. I also like the way that I like the meta in that, but I also enjoy the way that the meta of Helena Bonham Carter's character playing a designer with a failed clothing line, and that mirrors her own. That mirrors her own real life.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy the TWA line of clothes that she had done.
Yeah. And so I like that, and I appreciate the fact that earlier when I'm watching the film, when they're doing the planning, I'm thinking about who is the Andy Garcia like bad guy, like who's gonna provide like the trouble in the film. And
I thought they were going to set Anne Hathaway up to be that character.
Right. And so but as the movie's going along, I go like, well, what if this movie, this is a heist movie where it just goes off as planned. Like there's no,
which is Ocean's 11.
Right.
That's the great thing about Ocean's 11 is it introduces things where you're like, oh no, this could be trouble, but they were never trouble. And the revelation of the end of Ocean's 11 is like what you just watched was master professionals kicking ass and taking names and totally succeeding without any threat to them.
Yeah, and I like that this film, I like that the women were able to do that as well, because that idea of it reintroduced, like what Lisa just said about like Yen having like the cool stuff to do, and and opposite like Clooney being a part of it but not showing up. Like when I thought Clooney was going to pop up like at the end, I thought he was going to pop up like at the beginning, but definitely at the end when she comes there and she's pouring the drink, I thought he was going to pop up, but he didn't. And I appreciate the film for that, in that I felt like it rests more on the shoulders of the capabilities of these women.
I think it tries to. I mean, we're going to get into the bad. I think the film undercuts that at almost every turn.
Really?
Yeah.
So when Yen pops up, like I feel like, well, like what you said, Lisa, like yeah, it was cool that here's a connective tissue to like the other films, but I feel like well, because they had to rely on a guy to do this one thing, and I just wanted it all to be just these women doing it without the assistance of like a man. And so, but everything else, as far as like Sandra Bullock's character and Cate Blanchett, like all of the women being capable and me believing in their capability, like and them selling it, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the pacing of it. It was just a fun movie. It is probably a movie that I'm going to forget about like in a few weeks, a month, at the end of the year.
But
By
the end of this episode,
but probably, but watching it in the theater, like I really appreciate it. I enjoy what it was, because when they introduced the element of like the magnet on the back of the neck, I'm like, oh shit, okay, so here's the roadblock. But they quickly get around that before, and it wasn't even something that was going to have to come. They're going to come back to later in the climax of the film to try to figure out. I mean, they figured that shit
out in the next scene.
Yeah, and for me, I was like, well, that's different. Like I enjoyed that, and so I mean, I appreciated what Ocean's 8 ultimately ended up being.
I think that it definitely proves that there are a bunch of women that we love watching on screen, and they can all be in a movie together, which never happens. So that's great.
Yep. And my crush on Cate Blanchett was solidified. I mean, I've always admired her as an actor. It wasn't until like Thor Ragnarok where I was like, I think I'm in love with her. She's infinitely sexy to me. But then like in Ocean's 8, I was like, yeah.
Oh my God, pantsuits.
I'm in love. She's infinitely sexy to me. And like you said, Brad, like that outfit, the one jacket that she had on with the black leather pants, it's ridiculous. But she was slaying the shit out of that outfit.
Yep. I don't know. There's something kind of David Bowie about her. I don't know. I just dig her.
I dig her. So yeah. And Rihanna, like I was surprised. Like I was like, all right, well, is this going to be, this is going to be one of those instances where you have this singer or performer who dabbles in acting and it doesn't come off good or comes off like cringy or whatever, but like I felt like she was a really fun addition to the group.
I think it would have been more fun to have a little bit better feel of these side relationships. Like I liked seeing Cate Blanchett and Rihanna hang out, and I would have loved to see more of that instead of just like an offhanded hot sauce gag.
Yeah.
Roll eyes.
The very similar situation is Awkwafina and Mindy Kaling doing their Tinder routine.
Yes, that was so fun.
That was probably my favorite pairing, and it's like 1 minute. It's one joke, but I wanted more of that.
More of that. Yeah. So fun.
All right, Brian, let me see. Is that all for my good? Boop, boop, boop. Oh, and I like that there was no. I mean, there's a relationship at a plot point in the film, either of an ex, but I like that. I mean, I like that outside of that, like the rest of the women, and to some extent, like really Sandra Bullock's character didn't feel defined by a relationship with another guy.
Yeah, she was defined by her relationship with Cate Blanchett, which I thought was interesting.
And her quest for revenge of this dude who screwed her over.
Right.
And her relationship with her brother.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. All right, that's for my good. Brian, your bad.
Well, that kind of segues into my bad was actually the relationship that she had with the guy. To me, it felt like it was. I feel like Gary Ross was kind of emulating what Soderbergh did.
Yeah.
By basically just making the exact same film as Ocean's 11, plot point for plot point. You know, when George Clooney and Julia Roberts and the Andy Garcia relationship with him trying to get his wife back, and then you have Sandra Bullock with this ex and trying to get revenge with him, and you know, like Cate Blanchett said in the movie, you know, you can't run a job in a job, and that's the same thing Clooney was doing when Brad Pitt came to him. So it just felt like you're getting the same beats, and it just felt like Gary Ross didn't have any type of creative style or the creative choices he was making narratively wise.
Gary Ross and Soderbergh are very different, and you know there are pros and cons to that.
Yeah,
you know? But Soderbergh made a stylish movie.
Yeah, and it just feels like Gary Ross was just trying to copy
a replication.
Yeah, he's basically just tracing over the exact same film that he made, and that was kind of like my issue with the film.
But trying to do it in a forcibly more feminine way, which just comes across as like mwah to me.
Yeah, and that was my biggest issue with the whole thing because I love the original
original remake.
Yeah, I was gonna say trilogy, but I don't like 12. Well, 11 and 13, I'm big fans of. So yeah, seeing that, I especially with this all-female cast. I mean, I like the whole idea of the Met Gala, and actually is one of my other strengths. I love the whole heist of, you know, stealing the jewels from the Met Gala and everything like that. Like just the way they planned everything out, I thought was really cool. But as far as like the motivations for Sandra Bullock's character and how everything kind of played out, it just felt like, okay, we've been here before. It was too safe. I thought you could have told a different type of story or had a different type of motivation for her character. But, you know, it's what it is.
Okay, Lisa?
To me, I thought that the heist was lame. Like, every layer of it was less technical than busting into the Bellagio. Like, to me, like, and this goes back to, like, trying to do the girl version of everything. Like, you know, the guy busting into the Bellagio, there was all of this, like, getting past security and it's about money, you know, where it's just like...
There's a lot about the construction of the caper, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of shorthand going on in Ocean's 8.
Where, to me, it's just like, the scheme in Ocean's 8 was, for one thing, too much about clothes. Way too much about clothes. Get into the party. That was pretty easy, actually. Just get invitations.
Get a job at Vogue.
You know, switch the necklaces. You know, like
find a designer to help you.
Walk around looking fabulous. Yeah. That's what it was about. Like where it just seemed way less badass than the Bellagio heist on every single level. And then also like Sarah Paulson as like the Q character, like what like these things that they were using, like where did she get that? Like
the special glasses,
Sky Mall. Like,
I think it was from her, like her crazy Goodfellas like ring of trucks that she's been
fencing days.
To me, it's just like, well, like she's good at shopping. That's her job. Like, and so like you know the 3D cubic zirconium printer, the scanny glasses, that wasn't even necessary. Like. That could have been, they could have gone on Google, looked at what the necklaces look like, and then had Mindy Kaling, who is this apparently amazing technician with creating jewelry, just make them. Like that wasn't even necessary.
It was a weird step.
It was a weird step and like made the heist not rooted in like reality. It's like not something that people could do, like using technology that does not yet exist.
Yeah, or at least a souped up version of it, I guess, of that technology that exists.
Yeah. So like to me, I just thought that was everything seemed just a little bit forced. It's like when they made Legos pink.
Wait, what?
You know, like you know they're like, well, Legos are for boys, so we need to make Legos for girls. so we have to make them pink, and we have to
be diamonds,
and they have, and the little characters have to be a different shape. And I'm partly for that, I'm a girl and I like pink things, but it can't be like so aggressive. I don't know. I mean, like, I think I lost my.
I think to your point, I found the caper very ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the original Ocean's 11 or the original remake of Ocean's 11 had a extremely complex caper plot, but a lot of the joy was about how these pieces all worked, and there was a thoughtful construction to the scheme.
Right. And
you didn't realize what you were seeing until the very, very end. And again, this film tries to replicate that reveal, and it just doesn't work.
They still have, like, Ocean's 11, all of those guys look amazing. They have super aspirational outfits on. They look amazing, but what they're doing is harder.
Because Gary Ross and the studio, they're trying to kickstart a franchise. They're trying to do it again. Mm-hmm. And that's a very hard place to come from. Rarely can you do it again just as well. That's ultimately the big bad of Ocean's 8. Mm-hmm. It's not Ocean's 11. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have other bads, but I think Brad's going to bring them up.
I don't know.
You go ahead and I might interrupt you.
I mean, my big bad is that I love these people. They're not given a lot to do. Outside of Sandra Bullock, there's not given much plot for them to chew through. And I love Cate Blanchett in this movie. Lou is so fantastic. But honestly, she's barely in this film. And if she's barely in this film, then Rihanna and Awkwafina and Mindy Kaling barely have a footprint in the movie. And I find it really, really frustrating as fans of all these actors. Whereas I thought, screen time wise, I bet you could go and look at Ocean's 11 and see, like, well, really, how much time did Casey Affleck and Scott Conn have in this movie? They probably have the same amount of time that Mindy Kaling has in this film, but they found things for those actors that was a little more satisfying to do than what these actors are doing.
Are you going to bring up this?
Just say it, Lisa.
The James Corden character?
Oh, well, I wasn't, because I'm
You're saving him for later?
No, he's awful. I hate James Corden. I don't like James Corden in anything, frankly.
I think he's kind of ruined himself as an actor by being a talk show guy. Like, because now it's just like, what's James Corden, the talk show guy, doing this? Like, I hope they do a karaoke in the car later.
Yay!
I do. I
with
love
Rihanna.
This.
Yay! No.
So to me, I like that him being like the mastermind that figures it all out. First and foremost, if you're gonna have a character like that,
this dude?
You should introduce him way sooner in the film.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. I thought some of his lines were pretty funny.
Logic by the end, he's like, look, I just want to prove to the insurance company that it was stolen. I don't care
who did it.
Oh,
it was bizarre. Right. It was just really strange. But I did like him pointing to the art and saying, you've got 2 of those. I thought that was funny.
I mean, he's good at improv,
But he's still James Corden.
I just don't like James Corden.
Time.
He's so
I liked him in Les Mis.
James Corden.
He was in Les Mis?
Yeah, he was singing.
Oh, okay.
I like it. I like that he's a singer.
All right. That's it for your bad B?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. I don't really have a bad. I just don't have that much stock in this movie. I wanted to ask, did you all go back and rewatch the Soderbergh Oceans movies prior?
No, but I totes want to now.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it again last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen 13 or 12 since the theater. I love the original Soderbergh movie, but I 13's better than 12.
Yeah.
12's
pretty good.
12's a bad movie. 12's way worse than Ocean's 8. Yeah.
So I've never seen 13, and I'm bringing that up because the Oceans films, the Soderbergh ones, are movies that when I saw them, I was like, okay, it's basically what Ocean's 8 is to me. Like, if I saw them, I enjoyed them, but like, they're not movies that I go back and revisit or think about unless they're brought up, and that's kind of how Ocean's 8 is for me. Like, I enjoyed it. There weren't things, and I was having so much fun, I guess, with the cast. And back to what Lisa was saying, like, the biggest thing about this movie, I think, is the show that an entire female cast can carry a film, because I was so entertained by them that nothing else really bothered me. Like, there was nothing in it that I felt like, oh my God, you just ruined the movie for me, or like took me out of it. It felt like just a entertaining like popcorn movie, like with a heist, and they pulled it off, and they didn't get jammed up, which I appreciated it. And then that was it. Like, I wasn't going into it expecting, even remembering Soderbergh's films, to have the comparisons that you all had. I probably should.
I don't know. I think Ocean's 11 is a great popcorn movie.
Yeah,
like, I think it's awesome. From the fun that the actors are having, to the style of the movie, to the soundtrack, to the score, to the cinematography.
I remember liking Ocean's 11 a lot.
But I just, like, to me, like, I find the point that, a bunch of women can carry a movie, like, to be like a stupid point, because women are people too, and they have skills.
It's a stupid point, but that's the Hollywood that we live in.
But to me, like, if you're going to prove the point that a bunch of women can carry a film, make a better film. Women deserve better in their script and in the overall construction of the movie. Like, I feel the same way I felt about, like, when the remake of Ghostbusters, where I even think that Ghostbusters was a better movie than this.
Agreed.
But, like, like, when you're doing a remake, you, like, I don't know. It just has to be, like, a better movie. Like, I think that women deserve a really, really good movie. I don't know.
All right.
Maybe that's a terrible point. Maybe I'll regret it later.
I'm with you.
Thank you.
All right. Brian, you're ugly.
None.
Not saying that you're ugly.
Nothing ugly?
Nah, in this movie, no.
You can think outside the box, Brian.
You like all of that jewelry, every last piece of art that was on that wall. That
every
sculpture,
outfit. You liked all the outfits. What about that TWA outfit?
Which one was
that? The flight attendants. Helena Bonham Carter's outfits.
Oh, yeah, in the beginning. Those are all right.
I'd wear them. I don't know what everyone's problem was.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, no ugly for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Lisa.
Of course, all of the V stuff. Like the fact that Anne Hathaway was poisoned. And then, you don't actually see anything, according to Brad. I close my eyes regardless.
You don't see anything.
You don't see anything, but still, like...
It's very soundy.
The sounds are horrible, horrible, horrible. And then it comes back, like, repeatedly in, like, a shocking fashion, so that I could not be comfortable for the rest of the film. That's just, like, a me thing. I can't criticize the film for that. But I think all of the green screen in this film was silly.
There was a lot of green screen in this film?
Yeah, like Mindy Kaling in Paris.
Oh yeah, that okay.
The worst. Yeah. But it wasn't just that scene. There were like scenes where it's just like, really, you couldn't just find a place to sit and shoot this scene?
That conversation between Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett in the car.
Yes, green screen in a car. Like, it's just like, go to a place. I think part of it is we did see this, but so did you, on the big show screen. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this film was ready to be shown on a screen
through laser projector.
With laser projector on an enormous screen. Like, it just seemed silly. And then in the Paris scene, it felt like Mindy Kaling was also making fun of the fact that she was in front of a green screen, which is... hilarious, and I love you. You can do no wrong in my eyes, Mindy Kaling. You're the best.
All right, B, you're ugly.
I mean, to piggyback off of Lisa's green screen comment, I think the movie is ugly looking. I don't think Gary Ross is a particularly good director, and I don't think the cinematography is particularly interesting. And it just looked very, very blah. And if you're going to replicate Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, and Ocean's 13, you need a stylist filmmaker, and Gary Ross is not that. He's the Seabiscuit guy. All right? He made the first Hunger Games. They look like butt.
That's why his name is familiar to me. The Hunger Games movie. Okay.
The Free State of Jones, your favorite film of 2 years ago.
The what?
Free State of Jones, the Matthew McConaughey Civil War movie.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Also looked like butt.
All right. Damn. All right. Well, I apparently am way less forgiving, as I also don't have an ugly for the film as well. Again, it wasn't. It's I guess unremarkable. Like, I don't have anything bad to say about it as far as how it looks, but it doesn't. You know, I'm not going to be championing it for any cinematography award. I can't tell, but
it's just like, whoa.
Are you sure?
2.5 stars.
Okay, all right. I gave it 3. I found it entertaining. That's it. Again, I probably won't think about this movie ever again, but when I was in the theater, I was having a good time. And maybe that was because I was excited because I was in a new auditorium, or, you know, I knew I was.
You're allowed to like it, Darren.
I don't know. I mean, I'd say I enjoyed the film. So yeah,
we would love to have every movie be a revelation.
I think
that's
I'm
just not
also becoming a little grumpy this year.
Who, you?
Me.
Why?
This summer has, like, every film since May has disappointed me, and I feel like I'm letting that disappointment like poison my summer season soul. You know, because you know, I know our opinions are different, but like, I wasn't crazy about Upgrade. I didn't like Deadpool 2. I didn't really like Solo. You know, it's just like one after the other.
When is the last time you watched Paddington or Paddington 2?
Yeah, I need to watch Paddington 2.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Hereditary, I was
Great.
like, yes, awesome. I really dug Hotel Aretmis.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe I'm getting out of my stupor. Maybe, you know, I gotta like relax and not be such a grump. Who am I becoming, Lisa? You're just gonna slam me?
Oh, a negative Nelly.
Oh, no.
Those
I don't
are
want to
not-
be a negative Nelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Jurassic World will pull you out
I'm
of
looking
that.
forward to Jurassic World. No, Hereditary pulled me out of it.
Okay, good.
Hereditary.
Oh my goodness. No, I won't talk about this on the air. Never mind.
Ooh, secrets.
Ooh, secrets.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, hit us up on social media. If you've seen Ocean's 8, let us know what you thought of the film at ItModcast. You can also follow Brian Young, the Turtle Dork, at the Turtle Dork on Twitter, at the Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram, and at Brian William Young on Facebook. Are you
And
looking?
all up on YouTube all the time, posting
yes.
trailer reactions like a boss.
Yes. There. Check him out there as well. Are you looking forward to anything coming out this week?
Incredibles 2.
That's this week?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Holy
Okay.
shit.
All right, that's right. That's the official hard opening film at the Alamo and Woodbridge.
Are we gonna? Is that gonna be our review cast next week?
Yeah,
Sweet.
of course. Yep. All right. You can follow Wife Dork at Sidewalk Siren and at Bake Dork on Twitter.
Okay.
She's also at Sidewalk Siren on Instagram, and she is at Sidewalk Siren on Letterboxd. Wife Dork, you don't have a Bake Dork like Instagram thing?
I do have a Bake Stork on Instagram. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So Bake Dork at Bake Dork on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes.
And also at Sidewalk Siren on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes.
And Letterboxd. What are you looking forward to besides Incredibles 2 this week?
I still on Wednesday I get to watch Mr. Rogers, the Mr. Rogers doc.
Yes.
Won't You Be My Neighbor? I didn't get a chance to watch it this weekend. I've been having bad migraine problems.
It came out already?
It's at
Yeah, it's at
Bethesda,
Bethesda Row.
Not Bethesda Row. Arclight.
Arclight.
Okay.
So I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. So sad for me. But then I still have a future to look forward to. So that's
It's opening
nice.
up much wider next weekend.
I still haven't seen Hotel Aretmis, so I got to see that. I've got a lot of responsibilities.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
All right. Mouth Dork is at Mouth Dork on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Letterboxd, and Untapped. What you looking forward to this week, B?
I just found out that I'm going to Canada on Tuesday.
Wait,
Yes,
what?
he is.
Yep.
I just found out that you're going to Canada on Tuesday.
You did.
Yeah.
I haven't told you guys yet, but I'm doing a set visit for 3 days. I'm going to be up in Manitoba, and I can't say what the movie is. I'm excited about it. I'll tell you when we hit stop.
Yay!
But I'm really, really curious. I'm going to talk to some really, really cool people.
You got your passport and everything?
I've got my passport ready. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I'm very jealous that he's going to get to do this, and I'm going to hold it against him.
The hotel I'm staying at is supposedly haunted. So I'm going to go ghost hunting.
Yeah. 1403.
Yeah. Oh, no, Tiny Sam Jackson. He's in my fridge.
He's next to the eggs and shit.
Oh, man. I'm Darren Smith. I'm Darren Smith, the Disco Dork on all social medias. I'm looking forward to Won't You Be My Neighbor.
Are you going to watch it with me at with and Brian Light at
what time
Alamo?
are you going to see it?
I don't know what the screen
It's like
is on the
7 something.
Alamo on Wednesday.
At the Alamo?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to ArcLight. I guess I'm going to the Alamo on Wednesday.
Yay!
It's like an advanced screening, or kind of an advanced screening, because it's
Kind of
advance
out.
of their opening on Friday.
If they have tickets available, I will go. I'm finished school. Not school. I mean, I finished this last leg of the course, so I think I can maybe skip class on Wednesday. Yeah. So I might go. Yeah, that's the only thing I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to take Sia to see Incredibles 2. I thought Jurassic World was coming out this weekend, this next weekend.
2 weeks.
All right. Yeah.
And it's Sicario time.
Yeah. I'm getting more and more excited.
I don't give any shits for that.
Oh, okay.
No fucks for Sicario too.
Damn. All right. Well, I'll give Lisa's fucks for Sicario. I'm excited.
You can have all of my fucks. No, you can't. I'm a married woman.
All right, so if you want us to hear the ending and spoil the hell out of Hereditary, wait to the end of the break. We're going to let Brian disappear.
Yeah. Forever.
No.
Oh,
we like
okay.
Brian.
Oh, okay. All right. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Be on the lookout this week on Friday. In honor of the release of Incredibles 2, we have our fistful of Pixar.
Our second fistful of Pixar, it turns out.
Our left fistful of Pixar. All right.
We're going to get left-fisted.
Wow. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And until next time, this scone is good. All right, so if you all are still here, you're still here. Thank you. All right, so this is what I wanted to talk about regarding Hereditary, minus any spoilers for Lisa's Weekend Dork. Because, again, this movie, I really think deserves a much deeper conversation. There's so much going on there. But what I didn't want to spoil for Brian or the rest of the listeners is, so I have this thing, I have this pet peeve about the occult in films and things like that, and like covens and witches and shit like that. Like, to me, like when that element is introduced in the film,
you're disappointed.
I'm talking about before even seeing Hereditary. Like when that element comes up in the film, I get disinterested.
Like Rosemary's Baby or The Ninth Gate or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's something that I really need to sit down and think about so I can put it into words so that I have a response. So when someone asks me, well, why is that when talking film? But whenever there's an idea of like a cult or something like that, like I just
there's something unbelievable about it.
I don't know, but I'm very much aware of cases,
right? But you find it annoying. It's just not a plot element that you like. Like some people don't like. Some people don't like fucking Paranormal Activity type stories, right? Like I don't.
Right.
Like creaking doors, like who cares?
Right. Well, I wouldn't say annoying. I just when it comes, I'm disinterested.
Okay.
But I will say with Hereditary though, I mean there was enough other stuff there, or the way in the very least that it was showcased was done in a way that I've not
seen before. I like the fact that it went occult because it feels like a ghost story. Oh, like the little girl's angry.
Well, that's the great thing for me about the film is how that seance is introduced, right? Like, oh, here comes a supernatural element. There's a seance. We already know she's being visited by the ghost of her mom and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And how that seance is a head fake for this nefarious operation that's going on.
Right.
And it's kind of like when you watch something like Dawn of the Dead, you go in and you go to see the zombie movies, right. And you guess what? It's actually Tom Savini and all the humans that are really the awfulness of the world.
Right.
Just like here, it's not so much the supernatural element, although Payman, the eighth demon of hell or whatever, is probably not a great guy.
Right.
But it's the human element that's really something to be terrifying.
That's like what Lisa was saying before the supernatural element is involved, how she felt like relieved once it was introduced. I mean, again, all of that, everything in the beginning was what I found tremendously upsetting to me, because all of that stuff is infinitely more relatable to me than like the occult and things like that. So the dealing with grief and, that mother either trying to bury herself in work to deal with the grief, or dealing with grief while still having this deadline. So I got no choice but to do this work as well. and then her son, and then the friggin'. All right, since we're at spoiler territory now, that shit with Charlie happened.
Yeah.
Like that early on. I was like, wait, what the fuck is this movie? Like,
But to me, that was too fucking sad. Like, and there are, you know, teenage kids who accidentally kill their siblings. Like, it's a thing that happens. Or, you know, like, I got into a car accident a while ago, and now just driving is scary, and I worry about killing myself, killing other people, just by, you know, being an asshole on the road, just, you know, not paying attention, whatever. And so to me, like, when I was in that place, I was like, I do not want to be here. And so when that, like, when the spooky stuff got introduced, it was a relief.
Well, and when you realize that death was orchestrated, right? And that
by
Charlie's
payment
not what you think Charlie is. Charlie's not just a little girl.
Right.
On the second watch, from the obituary on, obituary's talking about her, you know, so she had a husband and a son, right? And then in the therapy session, you learn that this son hanged himself because mom was trying to put people into him. And so you realize that this mother, Queen Lee, who dies before this movie has even started, has been orchestrating this event for decades.
Yeah, and
because
recreating
because she leaves that note saying that, you know, the sacrifices we make will be worth it
right.
later.
And like, so then you look in the dioramas and you see how when Charlie was born, you see her trying to feed Charlie, which is a reference that was made before, because Charlie is Paimon, right? This is what Queen Lee has been trying to get to this entire time. She tried to do it with her son. Her son rejected her, hanged himself, and who knows what was going on with Toni Collette's character before this movie even starts. The whole idea that she was trying to abort her child because she never felt she was going to be a mother. Like, was there a time when her character knew what her mother was orchestrating?
And she was trying to abort a child to keep her from doing that?
Right.
Okay.
And then light her child on fire through sleepwalking. Is there a subconsciousness there? A past life, a past memory that is trying to break free of this spell that has been put on her? Like, there's so much to dig into on multiple watches.
I didn't even think of that. Damn. But like the last act of that film, again, I didn't find this movie scary, and everyone says it's a scary movie, but I did find a lot of the imagery extremely disturbing, and I like that. Like when she's going at her neck with the piano wire.
Oh my god!
I haven't seen something that startling in a horror movie in a long time. I was like, whoa, that is extremely upsetting. Just everything her character's been through in that film. For that to be her ending was infinitely upsetting to me. I was like, oh man.
That scare of her up in the corner. So I saw it at the Alamo One Loudon first, and it was projected so brightly at the One Loudon that she was there immediately. Right?
Oh.
And I was like, oh shit. And then everybody in the audience were like, ah! Right? So then we go and see it at the Woodbridge, and the projection's much darker, and it's only until your eyes adjust to it that you see it, and it's much more effective. So to me, it really shows what the projectionist, their role is in the film, and how much of an impact just those projectors have on your experience. And you know, I was so bothered. I was like, Lisa, can you even are you seeing anything? Are you seeing anything? And you're like, Brad, yeah, I see it. I see it. Okay, oh, scary. But. And you know, that is creepy, that reveal, but the image of her sawing her head off is like the real kicker. Oof. To me, it's after the kid jumps out the window. And you know, and then Paimon enters his body through that light, and then you see the shadow go over him.
I'm like,
so
what
like, what's that fucking shadow? And then you see the headless corpse going into the treehouse. That image is beautiful and goosebump inducing. That's my favorite image of the entire film.
I was like, oh my God. And what I found more scarier than when she's up in the ceiling is right before that, when he's in the bedroom, and behind him, you see her go like horizontally across the screen. I'm like, oh my God, what was that?
Well, And then when he's going downstairs and there's the naked man in the doorway, and then throughout those
she
scenes,
starts. You're talking about when she just hauls off and starts chasing after his ass. Oh my god, that was freaking freaky.
I think the naked people standing around is what is going to lose a lot of people.
Yeah,
like just seeing that many dicks on screen, I think is going to lose a lot of people. Like, oh, this isn't fun anymore. I see penises.
It just that movie is such an emotional roller coaster, to use a cliche phrase. You with and Toni Collette is it's an amazing performance that she gives. Yeah. But you go through to real human pain with her, and you then are taken to Bizarro land, right? But it's all expertly detailed and crafted.
Yeah. Well, as far as when you say you go through human pain with her, when she's in the bedroom on the floor and her husband's trying to comfort her and she's crying because of Charlie, I don't know that I can't remember the last time I've seen an actor portray someone expressing loss and pain in that way. Like her screams were just terrifying, brutal, so sad. Yeah,
and that scene right there also is Gabriel Byrne, right, trying to comfort her, maintain her, hold her, and that's him for the entire movie until he's at the stoplight and his emotions break down and he cries at the stoplight. And from that point on, he's like, I can't fucking deal with this woman who's I'm married to. Yeah. I have to protect my son. Yeah. Right. If it's too late.
And then when he caught on fire, I was shocked because I thought that was going to be her. Because I remember when it was getting to that part, I was like, there was something in the trailer where somebody was on fire. I was like, oh man, she's about to catch on fire as soon as she throws it in there. But then when he caught on fire, and then her look of I'm telling you, her reactions of terror are some of my favorite in film, period. Toni Collette was amazing.
When she's sawing her head off and there's the extreme close-up of her eyes.
Oh, man.
And she's looking down.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all I wanted to spoil, ladies and gentlemen. If you've seen the film, then you know what we're talking about. If you're not, shame on you. Go check this crazy shit out.
The more I talk about it, the more I like it.
Same. And hearing you talk about your rewatch and seeing things differently, I'm so conflicted because now that I know what's there, it's weird. Normally, I go into a film and rewatch and go, okay, now I know what to expect, so I can enjoy it on a different level. With this one, now that I know what's there, I'm almost more apprehensive because I know what I got to go through again.
I had much more of an enjoyable experience on the second time around because I know what's coming. So when Charlie has her head knocked off and that moment with her, it's still oh gosh, it's powerful and I was watching poor Lisa just be devastated. I mean, Lisa was ugly crying.
Well, it started with the allergic reaction.
Oh god.
Oh yeah.
And as you know, the idea of these delicate children out there with allergies that can kill them, it's just, that's something that just really, really scares me. And then the compound that with now the teenage son is panicked and he's having to act in panic and guilt. And then that leads to,
the worst thing ever.
It was just too fucking sad.
Yeah.
It was too fucking sad for me.
But
and I don't know if I want to rewatch.
But see, on the second watch, before that scene, as they pass the telephone pole and you see the symbol on the telephone pole, you're like, oh shit, hee hee hee, evil cult, hee hee hee. And I enjoyed it in a devilish fashion.
Because when I first of all, I was why is that there on that pole? What does that mean? I was not expecting the payoff to be what it was. I was like, wait, I was so waiting. It was like when Steven Seagal died in Executive Decision. All right, is he coming back now? Is he coming back now? He coming back now. End credits. He never came back. So I was like, was that a dream? Was he just high?
Charlie comes back.
Like what? So yeah. And then again, his reaction when he stops the car, that's some of my favorite acting I've seen all year. It was emotionally devastating, all because of his performance.
Toni Collette is without a doubt my favorite actor of the year, and she better get nominated. I hope this film's remembered.
It'd be tragic if she does not, because she put in work. So yeah, that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I wanted to talk about. Again, if you haven't seen the film, please go check it out. It's worth seeing, at least so you can be part of the discussion. It is not necessarily an easy watch, but I would say that it is rewarding in that there are a bunch of things beneath the surface to unpack and discover. So yeah, that's going to do it for us. Until next time.